All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming out here. It's a little chilly. Fortunately, it's sunny. Hey, after I talk about the testing here today, I'll be making a statement regarding the in custody death at LMDC here over the weekend. So if you could just hold on for that, we'll get to that after this. Okay, Omicron is with us. We all know that, and it has remarkable infectiousness compared to the other variants that have been out there. And once and again, it's proving why it's a real test for the world and for our city. We are recording just incredibly high daily case numbers and incidence rates that would have been unimaginable even a year ago, before the vaccines were widely available or during the height of the Delta variant. And we're just shattering records in new cases that Dr. Hartledge is going to talk more about here in a second. So the science is still early, and some people are saying that Omicron is proving to generally cause milder symptoms, but the numbers are so big in terms of case counts that unfortunately the deaths usually follow 3 weeks or so after that. So we're just really holding our breath and hoping for the best as it relates to that. But that nevertheless, this is a really frightening surge for everybody here in our city. If we have learned anything, it is to stay humble to this virus. We want to be done with it, but clearly it is not done with us. It continues to infect more and more people, causing serious damage, and then obviously up to death in the worst cases. So we wanted to adapt, and this site here at Churchill Downs is a perfect example of how we can adapt to meet new challenges that are caused by the virus with the help of great partners like Churchill Downs, one of Louisville's iconic companies, and of course Blue Water Diagnostic Laboratory. And Blue Water's been on the forefront of the COVID response ever since it started. With the sheer number of new cases that we're recording, testing has once again taken the forefront of the needs in our community. We're all aware that vaccines are readily available at over 100 different sites, but we've got to increase our testing so people can isolate if they need to and quarantine appropriately. Our Louisville Metro government was able to work with Churchill and Blue Water to get this large site up and running in just a little bit over than a week, so we moved very quickly. Starting today, this centrally located drive-through testing site will offer 4 lanes for the public, 1 for public safety agencies throughout Jefferson County, and a rapid testing line from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mondays through Saturdays. Registration and proof of insurance or a social security card are required, and testing matters because you want to know, let's say you're a grandpa and you want to spend some time with your grandchildren over the weekend. Well, you would certainly like to know whether or not you're infectious before you do something like that. So it just gives you the peace of mind to regulate your movement accordingly so you can be safe and, importantly, keep those that you love around you safe as well. So people often say, how can I help with the virus? One thing you can do is get tested so you know. So no matter what, by registering and using this new drive-through testing site, you'll be taking a really critical step to reverse what is this epic surge in new cases that are happening in our community. And then obviously we ask people to wear quality masks in public, especially inside, and avoid unnecessary contact with others. If you have any questions, be sure to call our helpline at 502-912-8598, and our team can offer both guidance and connect you with resources that are out there. And then, of course, there's vaccines. If you're unvaccinated, please get your questions answered. We are still seeing people get vaccinated for the first time, so we want to encourage people to continue to do that. We can't browbeat you into that, I get that, but you're seeing how dangerous this virus is, and we just really ask people, for your benefit and the benefit of those around you, to please get your shot, and please get the 2 shots and then get boosted. I want to thank Blue Water Diagnostic Laboratory. As I said, they've been a great partner with Metro, get this site up and running so quickly. It's been really challenging for these guys when you think about the big peaks and then the valleys with the virus, but they've been able to respond and staff appropriately. It's been quite impressive. So let's hear from Blue Water, Dina English.
Thank you for coming out. So we just wanted to, there were a couple of different clarifications that I wanted to make from what the mayor said. One is we have a rapid testing site, but that is reserved for the Metro employees and our K through 12 testing. So if you come to Churchill Downs and you're in the 4 public lanes, it will be the PCR test because again, the supplies are limited with the rapid. So we are reserving those for our K through 12 for the students with the test to stay. Any questions? 8 to 4:30, Monday through Saturday. And we just appreciate the patience of the public this morning. They've been so pleasant and kind, and knowing that, Blue Water too is faced with staff shortages and COVID positives. So we've had a lot of people today just be very gracious and I think one of the first people through the line did a test. I just heard this just a minute ago, and from beginning to finish, it was 36 minutes from them to pull in the line and get tested and pull out. I think that's pretty incredible considering this is our very first day and we got here and at 7 o'clock this morning we probably had over 150 cars in line already before we could even plug in our electricity. For this week, I'm not sure yet. We'd have to look at that, but we probably have already tested maybe 400, I would say, but we'll have to get you those numbers later. 48 to 72 hours. However, you most likely will get the results a little earlier. And, if you tested with Blue Water over the last month, then you know that our return times were 24 hours. But with the increase in testing, our lab is pretty inundated. So we are now saying 48 to 72 hours because we'd rather, under promise and over deliver. Well, if they have symptoms, then they need to be, quarantining and letting their employers know that they have a test and they have to wait until they get the results back. And if you do have issues with obtaining your results, please give us 48 hours before you call Blue Water because we're seeing about 300 calls a day. Just one day last week, we had 700 positives. So we have to call all those positives. In addition, we have all of the calls coming into our helpline. But if you do have a concern or request, please just email us at cs@bluewaterdx.com. And that's for our client services at bluewaterdx.com. It was pretty shocking to us, yes. Our lab director, I remember, I actually couldn't be there for his interview, but I read it later and we couldn't believe that there were 700 positives in one day. And we're still trying to call all of those positives. No, no. And honestly, we have not had a ton of Metro workers in yet. And so those rapids are reserved for them. And so if you're a city employee, if you'll just tell the yellow traffic guards with the yellow vest on that you're Metro, and then you can go ahead and go on in that lane 6. But if you guys wanted to reach out to me later, then we should be able to get those numbers for you by the end of the day. Right. I can't give you a percentage number on that, but I will tell you that the PCR test is considered the gold standard and it's 99. Actually, that's going to be a question for Dr. Hartley. So our capacity here at Churchill is upwards to about 5,000 a day. And I don't think that we'll be seeing that. But again, this virus is surprising us on a regular basis. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. When you do register, you will be asked to put your insurance in there. And then if you do not have insurance, it's okay. Just come on out and we will cover you. We got it. Okay.
So I'm not going to run through our whole dashboard this morning, but just briefly, as you know, we continue to set records with COVID case counts every day. The numbers are really unfathomably high at this point. Last week, in the last 7 days, we logged 16,287 new cases, which gives us an incidence rate of 303 cases per 100,000 of the population. And our testing positivity rate is 32%. Those are all record high numbers.
So 5 months after your second shot, you can come out and get a booster shot. The booster doses for those under 18 are only Pfizer. That's the only product approved for that age group. But for 18 and up, either Pfizer or Moderna is appropriate. And then testing, remains super important. Last week in the metro area, we had over 14,000. We had over 34,000 tests done in Jefferson County in the last 7 days. And so with many of those being done in urgent cares and emergency room settings, it's really great to have an off-site independent location like this one. So if you have milder symptoms or you are getting tested to guide your activities, such as visiting with family or other activities, it's really a great idea to get tested at a place like this rather than waiting for many hours and taking up space in an urgent care or an emergency room setting. We're trying to reserve that space for those who are in need of urgent medical care. So 34,000 PCR tests is a lot. So we're glad
Like this that can relieve a little bit of that burden. And we're looking to hopefully have some other probably smaller sites coming online in the coming days and weeks as well. And I think that is the update. So just encourage people to get boosted if you haven't, get tested. If you have symptoms, please stay home and isolate until you can confirm that you are negative. And otherwise, wearing your mask indoors and around anyone who is at particularly higher risk. Get your boosters. They're available at 100 places in the Jefferson County area. And thanks.
Any questions for Dr. Hart?